Thanks everyone. Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, today is going to be probably one of the most hardcore shows I ever did. I'm going to feed you a lot of truth if you're ready for it and can deal with it. Now, I'm going on my truth. Obviously, everybody has their so-called own truth. How much of it does it mean to the rest of the world, to the rest of the people? Jesus had his truth. Moses had his. Everybody had their truth. But what did their truth bring to the world? What did it change? What did it help? I could say this: Jesus' truth brought out 2.5 billion people to follow his teachings, even though most of it is not his teachings. The Bible was written by man, not God, nor Jesus. All right. So we're going to get into a lot of things from religion, spiritualism, and all those words together. But it's up to you to find the truth and what truth really means to you. But if you don't have a foundation, you're never going to find it. Karma is an important word, and so is reincarnation. So, like I said, this is going to be pretty hardcore. So if you can deal with it, great. If you can't, sorry, I'm sure you're not going to want to stay too long. But you have a choice to move forward in life or to stay where you are. I call it living in a box, live under the programming. Everything written down is a program, people, written by a person. God didn't write magical letters in the sky and let everybody read it. All right. So when Moses went up into the mountain, he had to carve the Ten Commandments in there. But he wasn't even happy with what he took down. So he created how many more? 63 more laws to live by. And they're all not beneficial. They all have nothing to do with spiritualism. So the title: do you believe in angels, demons, and aliens? Do you believe in a real God, or do you believe in a man-made God? I'm going to tell you straight out. 99% of the people on the planet believe in a man-made God. Why do I say that? Because we're going to get into that as we go through this. I'll take a couple things slowly today. I'm going to try to get as much in today as I can, as much as people want. Now, if you're not ready for this, I'm sorry. And if you are, please send this to people you know that might want to know a little more about religion, truth, and God and everything else along the way. All right. Now, when people say they work with an angel or they are an angel, whatever their stories are, in the Bible, all right, there's nine angels mentioned. All right. Now, in the beginning of the Bible, the most mentioned are the 9 angels, but in Revelations, John talks about hundreds of angels. And I'm going to try to get you to understand why people pick 3 angels out of them all. Because you live in a box. That's all you know. All right. We're going to talk about Mohamed, who said he worked with Gabriel, and he didn't even know it. So we're going to get into a lot of different things. But if you notice something about all the angels in the Bible that are named, all kind of rhyme. Michael, Uriel, Daniel, Jophiel, Camiel, Jeremiel, Carousel, I can't even say them. Gabriel, Raphael, and Nephilium. And then the one that came, which sounds like a futuristic name, came from Enoch. And that angel's name is Metatron. Kind of bizarre name compared to all the other names that are the angels in the Bible. Realize they were taken out after the 4th century. So, I mean, if you're reading the average day Bible, you're not going to even see any of those names. And that's why people can only mention the ones that are written in the Bible. And when an angel comes to you, hey, angel, who are you? What are you? Do you know how to challenge an angel? Demons can portray themselves as an angel, which they do greatly. Satan's great at doing that. His army can do almost anything to people on this planet, in this realm. But, okay, let's start with John, when he said that there are hundreds of angels. He wrote Revelations. Revelations has so much truth that 90% of most Christians have no clue what's in it. Most Christians do not read the Bible from cover to cover. They read certain things or they hear certain things. And I'm telling everybody, read the story of Adam and Eve 5 times in a row, and you're going to see what a lie that is. And nobody else is going to have to explain the lies. If you can understand English, you're going to see how much it's a lie. Then go to Revelations. I ask you to challenge yourself. Find where John tells you, or the people that are reading, what sins cannot be forgiven. Oh, we can be forgiven. No, you can't be forgiven for everything. That's man's delusional idea, not God's, not Jesus's. But Jesus did not come here to forgive your sorry ass. You may believe it and want to believe it and hope it's true, but it's not. We're going to get into God as well. And people, I'm not a plagiarizer. I don't plagiarize what other people say, think, and do. Nobody can talk at my level, and I'm promising you that. There's people claiming to be angels and disciples and all these other words, but they don't even have a clue what Jesus was teaching. They have no clue what God is teaching and is and what it does and why we're even here. And people play games with what's in the Bible. Lucifer's a fallen angel, just like all the other ones. Well, the ones that fell with him. But they're not evil, they're not bad. So when the Luciferians came out and all these people that want to follow Lucifer, turned him into a dark side. But he's not people. You can believe what people say. Satan is not Lucifer. Satan was allowed to stay here for a reason. And he still is here for a reason. He will be here as long as there's people in this realm. His army will be here always. You can cast them out. They possess people real easy. And most people don't realize that. All right. Now, they went down, the angels that fell down to the astral plane. They didn't fall down to earth. First thing people don't understand. All right. Meaning they never took a physical body. Never had one. On the higher planes, they were an angel, which was a light being, but they came down to the astral plane, which is still a being of light, depending on the level of awareness of that person. All right, I never heard any religion go into detail about God. All right, I never heard religions talk about the deities that control different realms to the higher realms. Deities were always called gods by mankind now. But when Hinduism was created, they weren't called gods. Man created the word gods, plural, with an S. Well, there is only one God. Deities don't play God. People call them God because they have power and abilities. That's the definition in any dictionary you pull up, which is useless. You want to understand God? You're not going to be able to find any definition anywhere by any speaker out there. The people that claim to know this and know that don't know God, don't know Jesus. I'll challenge anybody live. I know there's people out there saying they work with them and do all these things, but they're full of it. They don't know what Jesus was teaching, number one. Never mind what he did and everything else. He never took credit for anything he did. Never said he was God. Never. There's one line in the whole Bible that twists what he said when he talked about him being with God. We all can be, but we have to understand God to be with it. It's like saying, I'm with Superman, I'm with a Batman, I'm with a tree. Well, what's that mean? Nothing if you don't understand what you're talking about. So, all right, getting back to these religions, they talk about God, Christianity does, all right, and they make them into a high spiritual, for a word, level man. First off, God was never a man, all right, and then to say that, okay, he loves us. Do you even know what the word love means? Think about it. What does love mean? Really? Why do 60% of people in relationships break apart? Why do people abuse and hurt their partners and everything else? Do they understand what love is? They don't. I'll get into that. People, I know you're going to have a hard time listening to this because you don't want the truth. You could barely deal with what you think you have, which is nothing important, because it's not going to save you when you leave this planet. Not in a spaceship. I'm talking leave this physical body. You are not this body, and you're not a universal consciousness. We'll get into that. Sorry, people. You can believe things and hear things and accept things, but see where it gets you in the end. When you die, when you see somebody die, your best friend, best person, best father, mother, friend, children. See what it does. See how it helps you. Oh, we're all one consciousness now? Really? Every murderer, killer, and all those kind of people. You one with them? Good luck. Good luck being that. Good luck for you. All right. Deities are real, people. All right. They have their own individual teachings, beliefs that they're allowed to use. Why the angels fell from the higher plane? Because they started fighting with each other. Now, something else most people don't know, there's a council of 9 on the astral plane. They make decisions for a lot of things that happen in our universe or galaxy or multiple galaxies. But they're not God. They don't claim to be. And they fight with each other. Why do you think we're in the worst place that we have ever been in right now? And people want to believe they're in the most spiritual place. Saying they are. Saying you're spiritual doesn't make you spiritual. Now, if you listen to every show that I did, every talk I do, I never say I'm spiritual. Am I demon? Am I no. But why I don't say it? Because when you are, you don't need to be here. And you don't want to be here. I'm just about there. There's no reason to be here anymore. Mankind's destroying itself constantly, creating dangerous things, worse things every day. They have not made one spiritual thing in 100,000 years. All right. Now, in this physical world, angels don't stay here. And they don't come down and start classes and start teaching people. All right. Buddhism and Hinduism were the first religions on this planet. And they were working with deities. All right. And there's multiple books that read different deities. And even they can't keep one story of Shiva. They don't even know the truth about Shiva. So its story gets rewritten by somebody else, and they change a few things in it. And it's totally different. I'm not going to go into it. Pull up books on Shiva, learn the story of Shiva from both sides. But was it a real entity? Of course it was. Do people understand it? No. Do people understand Jesus? No. So if they can't understand a human body, how can they understand a deity, which is not a human body, not in a physical form? How can they even get close to understanding it or accepting it? People aren't ready. And then we'll get into aliens because that's part of most races, from the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, followed aliens. They didn't follow any kind of a god. They didn't know what God was. And they followed these beings that came down on ships and whatever. And because they had slight abilities to do certain things, they became their power. But they were abused and used by that. All right. Now, Gabriel is one of the 3 angels that most people know. Why? Like I said, most of the angels' names are taken out of the newer Bible. So Gabriel, Michael are the most common. Most people pick Michael. All right. But read the Bible. See where Michael is the most powerful, what he did, what he does. Now, when Noah met an angel, who did he meet? All right. In Sodom and Gomorrah, when they were dealing with a supposedly God, who were they dealing with? Really? When the destruction happened to the planet, and Lot said he wasn't allowed to look back. He was told by an angel, and his wife did, and he was turned to coal, stone, dust, whatever you want to believe. But they didn't give him names. They didn't. Oh, Michael came and met me and told me this, or Gabriel came and told me that. Well, when Mohamed met with Gabriel, he was given 36 phrases, which became like part of their true teachings. But you know, he really didn't know who he was with. His brother told him. How would his brother know who he met? Nobody knows who you meet. Some psychics can say they do, and it's up to you to believe them or not. Some psychics say, well, you were a mushroom in your past life, and you can believe it or not. If you can't prove it to yourself, it's useless. The same as the word immortal. If you're not aware of all your lives, it's useless, meaningless, and it doesn't help you move forward spiritually. I'm aware of all my lives back to Atlantis and one before it. All right, I'm not just saying it because I want to. I mean, it was a hard journey, but I had hundreds of reincarnations, but sadly, only 3 are important out of all of them. Most people come here and reincarnate over and over, thinking they're learning something important, learning a really good lesson. From what? Not to eat bees or let snakes bite you. What do they learn? Not to touch a flame? All right, you're not learning about a real God. Church, any kind of church, temple, what do you think you learn inside there? Teachings of what? Man, man's ignorance. Now, Zecharia Sitchin was one of the worst people in the UFO world to bring out a story that's totally useless for the human race about the Anunnaki, another race, not a good race. But again, people can't name too many races. Ask the average person on the street, how many alien races do you know? Oh, the Greys, because that's all over TV. What about the ones that are taking and using and abusing people all the time? Yeah, Greys are great for doing that. What about the other ones? Now, and this is a fact, Putin said they're working with 27 alien races. 2 of them directly want to destroy the planet. How would he know that? Why would he tell that to Trump? Which he did. All right. Now, if you were in the UFO world and knew the main speakers years ago, who are all now dead, one of them was one of the highest speakers in my viewpoint because he served top secret. He worked on the UFOs and everything else. One of the few people that can really say it. And he was killed because he opened his mouth on Jesse Ventura's show. But people, you'd rather listen to these people that do TV shows. You know, they're all afraid of me. Why? Because I only tell the truth. I don't attack people with lies. I only attack them with the truth. People are afraid of the truth. The little white lies you keep in your body, the little stories you hide from. I was empathic for 2 years, if you know what it means. And I could read and see everybody's thoughts and feel them. It was the most 2 horrible years of my life. Because not one person was actually thinking about a God or truth or things like that. It's sports, sex, it's anything but drinking or let's party, let's this, oh, I got to work. It's nothing important ever. Mankind thinks they're growing and learning. And the only thing man learns, and this is a fact, the only thing man learns is how to make a better toy, T-O-Y. A faster car, faster plane, whatever. It's just a better toy to play with. It's not meditation's only a starting point. It doesn't take you into God. And if you have universal consciousness in your programming, you're never going to see God. God doesn't play with people. We do. Angels and deities play with us by creating things and stories and situations. All right. Now, Hinduism was the first religion on the planet that was actually a religion. Before that, humans that were here worshipped animals. And that's why you always see these half animals and half beings and everything else. Because they were following entities. Entities can take on any form that they think you might want to see or might not want to see. Either way. Any angel, deity that can come to you, there's a way to challenge it, to make sure that it's real and that it's of God and not anything else. I know too many people that follow things, they believe it to be God. God doesn't talk to people on planet Earth. Why would it? There's nothing mankind can do on this planet to please God and make him happy. Make it happy, sorry. All right. We don't do good things. Name one spiritual person on the planet. Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Dalai Lama, the Pope? No. Not one of them. Not one of them can talk about a real God. People that can talk about God can read the Bible and say what it said in the Bible about God. Not much. Loving being. No, it's not. Why do we assume that? Man creates things to protect his own ego. That's all. All right, animals were never gods. And some religions say animals are their gods. Well, that's their problem. Certain religion, Hindu beliefs believe they become back as whatever they're thinking. Bug, an animal. That means reincarnation into a lesser life form. Meaning it's going to take you 1,000 times more years and lifetimes to get into back to where you started. And why would you want to do that? Well, I have to sit here and think about God, or I'm going to come back as a beetle. Then you have a useless life. I mean, people like Buddha that went up in a cave, all these lamas and stuff that hide out in a cave for 40 years. Well, they don't understand living in physical reality anymore because they're not. They don't even know what's happening in reality when they come out. The inventions and everything that men make, the toys they play with and create, are not spiritual. Let me just try one thing. I just want to see one thing. All right. Sorry about that. I got protections popping up all the time. I got YouTube trying to come after me as well. All right. Buddhism came from Hinduism. All right. Their beliefs are consciousness, universal. It's accepted, but not by the greatest numbers on this planet. Muslims are the second highest number on the planet, like 2.2 billion. Christianity is 2.5 billion. Then you got all the other religions that are percentage. There's over 2,000 religions. And I'm going to tell you something Jesus said was never written in the Bible. The most spiritual path will always have the least followers. Remember that. Wherever you are, whatever path you're following, think about it. Because if you're in a path that has multiple millions of people, you know you're on the wrong path. They're not all going to heaven and staying there. They're going to get this straight, people, whether you understand it or not. When you die, this body decays and falls apart. What you are, that life force inside it called soul, leaves it. It goes to the astral plane. I mean, the Christians have a story met by St. Peter, judged by St. Peter and thrown out and things like that. But no, St. Peter ain't there as a judge. There is deities there. I call them little gods because they control what goes past them from their realm into the next. Now, I'm going to try to get a couple things in your mind so you understand things. When angels fall from the soul plane, fourth plane, down to the astral plane, They do not change bodies. They're still a light body. Their minds aren't changed, things like that. They have to work out everything they did to fall in the first place. But angels, not Gabriel, Michael, all right, they all work with people. There's hundreds and hundreds of angels, and they work with people. They all don't take a famous name. The more famous you pick a name, the less you really work with that person. I'm telling you straight out. Michael doesn't come down and say, I'm Michael, or any one of the angels don't do that. And if somebody says they're, you know what they'll say? I'm who you're looking for, or I'm everything that you want or need to know. And that's coming from Satan. All right. All right. When you hear that, you can challenge that anytime. I worked on people. Half of them won't even admit what happened. Casting out demons and entities and all that. All right. My good friend's one of the top exorcists in the United States. I had him on my show a couple times. I might bring him on again soon. We'll be talking about it. We don't agree on aliens, so it's a little bit hard. But as far as getting demons out of people, it's people that get them and don't even know they have them until it's too late. All right. So when angels come down, they already realize they're on a mission to start cleaning up their act, getting back to where they were. All right. Now, when the government and science say we went into a different realm and everything else, the physical reality, the physical world, our universe, our galaxies, are one realm called the first realm, the physical reality. But in that, there's three separate realities, not this side and the other side of the same reality. No, that's people creating stories. All right. The realms are different. And what you do in each one of them is different. Science is talking about going into this reality and stuff. CERN, one of the most deadliest, dangerous weapons people are playing with, trying to create a black hole to go through into the next reality. But it would only be this realm. You're not going to go into a higher realm. And we'll get into why. I'll talk about demons and aliens separately, but when you cross over, you're a soul. But you get judged by your own karma, not by somebody else's, and nobody can take that away from you. Jesus didn't take karma from other people. No, Jesus even said, if you don't know what it is or the truth behind it, you're not responsible for what you do until you do. You're driving a car and you step on the gas and you're doing 100 miles. You don't know the speed limit's 60 until somebody tells you it. So how could you be responsible? Well, you shouldn't have made the gas pedal go down so far. So we have excuses and we have reasons. But when you know the truth, like when Jesus met people, and he tells them not to go out and sin no more. What's that mean? Meet me again next week and I'll forgive you again? If people followed that one statement, the world would never be where it is today. But nobody does. Then there's spiritual laws that exist in this realm. Nobody follows them. The most important spiritual law in this physical reality, I'm going to tell you what it is. When anybody else says, they have no clue. It's the law of non-interference. Nobody on this planet, universe, galaxy has the right to interfere in somebody else's reality unless they're invited into it. It goes for demons as well. They're not invited in, they can't come in. They can't come in your house if you don't invite them in. But there's ways you invite them in without knowing it. You go out to a club, you drink, you party, you get sucked into all this negative energy. You walk in your house and you bring it in with you. All right? I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. But people that do open their aura. And I teach how to see your aura. It's real simple to see somebody's aura. And you should. You can see who they really are. All right? Anybody, you want to look directly into my eyes, straight out, go on YouTube. Let's have a staring contest. Because you can see inside a person. No matter what they do, if they let you look into their eyes, you can see who they are. Seriously. Not only that, soul, which you truly are, does radiate light. And there's multiple colors. Red, blue, green, orange, yellow, white. Yellow. White, yellow, and blue are the highest spiritual levels. Green, red, orange, anger. Black and brown are darkness, just what they look like. And when you start getting black and dark auras, they start getting holes in them, and that definitely means you're smoking, drinking, and doing drugs. If the world and government was able to do that, they would know who's a real drug addict and who's not, just by looking at them. Like I said, I was empathic for 2 years, and seeing that is horrible. In those few years, I saw one person, a very elderly woman, that walked into a room with thousands of people in it, and her light rode across all the people in that room. And when she got next to me, she turned around and she said to me, "I love you," out of all the people in that room. People of spiritual awareness, when they attain it, all right, can see each other for what they are, not who other people call them, what other people say they are. But when we talk about soul, you will always be a soul. You will always be the same soul. You use different bodies to fit the vibration you're working or living in. Earth is hardcore. It's the most coarse sound and vibration. That's why you have a physical body. People, do you want the truth? I'm going to say this real fast. If God came into this realm, the world would explode. We wouldn't be able to deal with the vibration. Some people say, well, this is the highest vibration. They come with frequencies 128, 468, I mean, all these numbers. That's what we assume and believe. But there is nobody spiritual on this planet. Name them. Let them prove it. Spiritual beings have abilities, not psychic abilities. Most people on this planet think because they're psychic, they're spiritual. No way. Nostradamus had psychic abilities, but he wasn't spiritual either. Prophecy is a gift, and depending on the level of prophecy you have. If you can predict everything 100%, then you have it. But percent, what, 1%, 2%? Well, I can predict 20 things and maybe one of them might come true. No, a psychic, a spiritual person with the psychic abilities know exactly what happened. And there's only a few people on this planet ever in history that had them. Jesus was one of them. Mary Magdalene was the other. Both of them went through that word here that everybody claimed, ascension. I'll say this. I work with a medicine woman. She taught the teachings of Emerald Tablets from Thought the Atlantean. Not the storybook Thought, but the true teachings of going through ascension. You can do the techniques, you can do the exercise, but it's not going to mean you're going to go through ascension. I studied with her 2 years on that alone. I attained certain levels, but I didn't do it to learn psychic abilities, anything like that, because I already knew them. I hate to use my life as a guideline, but it's the only thing I know. When I was young, 14, I started a covenant. I had my own covenant by the time I was 16. 13 people in our circle. But at that time, I was working on trying to learn all the psychic abilities. 32 of them. I learned 3/4 of them. Obviously, the two that I wanted to learn, I couldn't. All right, Spirit gives you what you deserve, not what you want. Karma is what you deserve, not what you want. Life is what you're given to unfold from it, not to stay in it. All right. So when I started playing with the abilities, I'm not even going to go into it because I don't want to relive all that. But going through one at a time, proving that they're real, they can be used. But here's the most serious problem, people. Psychic abilities cannot be used wisely now. Why? Nobody knows God. You can't use something of God and not know what it is and use it right. You don't know what God does, thinks, feels. So how can you use something because you feel good about it? Healing, I'll get into that in a second, but, when the covenant was created and witchcraft came out of it all and things, they were playing with them. Because of abuse of abilities, they were all taken away. People that claim they have psychic abilities don't do anything about it. I dealt with so many in my life, but I did work one of the top mediums in the United States in late 60s. All right. She was considered a top medium by the New York Psychic Center. And we worked together for a couple of years directly. She became part of my covenant. But on top of that, when I became a high priest, I challenged everybody in Jersey at the time frame, the mob, and you name it, all these people that ran the mob. It was always bad. I never was a black magician. I was always a white magician. But even at that, you have to watch every thought. Because thoughts become reality when you have the ability to do it. The thought of killing somebody happens. The thought of something happening. I came to the point when I had to tell myself, I don't have to think anything. Spirit will take its toll on that person. And I watched what happened. Instantly, always, family, friends, and people. I can go into all those stories, but it would take a couple weeks to go through them. But you don't want to hear that. You want to hear what God's going to do for you and Jesus is going to do for you. Nothing. Not here. There's nothing He can do for you here. All right. Let me just see what else I want to get into real fast. Angels and deities are as real as you consider yourself to be. They vibrate different. They don't vibrate in a physical body, which you do. And when you die, you'll go to the astral plane. You'll see your body. You'll pick the age and all that kind of stuff, but you'll reincarnate again into another body. And when that happens, you will remember nothing. If your karma is getting better and you're working it out, and you do reincarnate, and you're paying off most of your karma, you start to remember your past lives or see them. There's one story that's incredible for a young boy. He saw his whole life in detail, knew every name. I can go into my proof and things that I experienced, but that's not going to help you. You need your own experiences. I was next to an alien. I was next to a ship. I was next to a Bigfoot. So can anybody tell me they're not real? No. They can say they're not, and I'm dreaming, drugs, whatever. But they're all, I can go into the stories. But I know it's real. I had witnesses for most of the things I saw. Or was with, however you want to put it. But again, where was I? What was happening in my life? It's usually the black sheep that can rise above the programming. Because they're not locked into it. This is the way it has to be. You have to do this and you're going to do that. No. Spiritual growth happens by itself, but you have to open the door. You just don't become spiritual. I want to be spiritual. You got to work for it. I worked really hard. I studied 14 religions and realized not one of them, the top 14 on the planet, could even talk about God. Oh, he loves you. He'll protect you. He watches over you. How? We'll get into that later. All right. I'm going to give you 3 names, people, because when you die, you go to the astral plane. Now, there's 3 deities or 3 beings, 3 entities that are there that make sure you don't go past the astral plane. Just like school, in a way, you got to go through levels and stuff, but you've got to attain a certain vibration. That's the key. Why can't? I'm in high vibration. You may believe that. Kama Sutra and all the words the Hindus use didn't help them. Not at all. Oh, I raise my vibration by doing Kundalini and working with a person or whatever. Kama Sutra. You name them all. It's the mind thinking it's experiencing something higher. Sex is probably the highest feeling that most people assume is the highest feeling you can go through in this lifetime. Attaining a high level of orgasm. I mean, who was it? Famous singer came out and said he was in that state for 24 hours. Good for him. Did it help him? When Hinduism was created, they were working with deities. All that was important in that time frame was sex. I'm not making that up. I spent years trying to figure out when love was actually created. And I'm sure you know that, but probably don't know the exact way it was created. Jesus did not teach love. You can't teach something like that. It has to be experienced from within. Jesus taught it because he showed it. He fell in love with Mary Magdalene. They bonded, became a couple, and had a daughter. Really, people, don't believe it, don't have to. So, being in that kind of space, Mary Magdalene had to learn to go through ascension. Because she had to finish teaching all the disciples, people, not Mary, the mother of Jesus. She did nothing except give birth to a child. She didn't have any abilities or powers or anything. She wasn't the healer or whatever. Now, to teach something, wouldn't you assume you have to know what you're teaching? I'm going to know how to teach you how to build a submarine. Do you want how to build a submarine? Of course not. So you can only teach what you know. If she didn't go through ascension, she wouldn't be able to teach the disciples any of the 32 psychic abilities, would she? And things people don't know, that they had to rise to a certain level to meet with Jesus. Because he was out of his body. It's wording by man, not by God or Jesus. When he was out of the body, he was in his light body. I mean, it starts, well, don't touch me, I haven't ascended, and all these kind of words. It's written by man on their perception. But then again, Doubting Thomas had to touch the hole in his hand to make sure, oh, well, that's him. No, your body's dead, period. Soul isn't. Soul doesn't retain the same problems that the body has. Doesn't have any of them. All right, so when you die, what do you expect to happen? Jesus to grab your hand and crush you over and say, here's your family, sit down and have a conversation for the rest of your infinity? What do you think happens on the astral plane? Most men do not want to go past the astral plane because sex doesn't exist beyond it. You're not male or female, so how could you have sex? The wording that we use here. Riding the light is a sexual energy for some people. Are you ready for any more truth? But so when all the angels came down here, they had to find things to help work out the karma that they created for themselves. All right? And we each have to do that in this form, in this reality, in this lifetime, which most people don't, because you're stuck on a program, religion, or path, or teaching. Who taught about God? Before Jesus, who talked about a singular one God? I mean, a real God, not this high, powerful being sitting in a chair, watching over everybody. Think God would need to watch anything you do? Do you do anything that's worthy of God watching you? Going to the bathroom, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, eating, drinking, smoking, any of those things? You think God would have to watch over you for doing that? Why would it want to? It doesn't. Don't worry, it doesn't. Somebody said, well, if he could see us doing everything, he could see me going to the bathroom. Do you think that's what it needs is attention focused on? Well, let me say these words. On the astral plane, there's 3 deities that stop souls from going beyond the astral plane. People, I don't care what anybody says. I work with a really high psychic who work with me directly, and we work with some things. I mean, he said, I can't tell you how to get past those deities. One of them is Satnam. One of them is Jehovah. And one of them is Lucifer. Don't believe me. Die, trying to go past the astral plane, even try to stay there. I had 5 death experiences. I spent a lot of time there. When you leave this body, in your soul body, time's so different. Depending on which realm you go into, determines how long that time really is. It multiplies. What you do in a year here, you can do 1,000 times over in the astral plane for an hour. But the time's different based on our time. All right? So when you go into the astral plane and you're doing things, you'll be there a lot longer and come back, and it was only half hour you were out of your body. Before I forget, there's a UFO person claiming she could do levitation and change DNA. Well, playing with the psychic abilities is very evil, especially when you think you could do it to somebody else. All right? Nobody has that right. We're not God. We will want to be or think we want to be or pretend we are, but we're not. I tell any person with a psychic ability, prove it. If you got a psychic ability, like Billy Myers came back with 100 prophecies given to him from an alien race called the Pleiadians. And little does anybody know, the Pleiadians are us from the future. Not the past, from the future. If we kill ourselves, they no longer exist, just so you know. All right? Time travel is a very dangerous, horrible, scary thing. And Mr. Tesla gave it to the United States government. And that's when the Philadelphia experiment happened. Then the Montauk Project happened. Then the vortex opened and allowed. A person I work with is proud of being able to open a vortex. Guess what? All it did was allow negative entities, creatures, and beings to come into this reality. Watch any ghost show or spirit show and things like that. They're filming all kinds of weird creatures and everything else. And he's going back to the stuff he filmed in 1968. No, 98, sorry. That stuff is nothing. Look at a picture of an angel. People have beings standing next to them. Not a little white circle or with little wings on it and things like that. Angels don't fly around like that. Angels don't have wings. Another fallacy. They don't fly around. I'm coming down to earth. I mean, it's cool like when you watch movies like Lucifer and things like that. It was cool. But in reality, you don't travel with wings. You can't go through dimensions with wings. I mean, if we genetically code a person with wings, we fly around on planet Earth, we're not going to be able to fly to a dimension. People, you want to believe all the shit that you're programmed with. And that's all it is. People claiming they're better or they're powerful or they're related or whatever. A gospel, a preacher, a minister, a rabbi, an angel, a disciple. All these words are ego. I claim to be an ordinary man. I don't claim anything else. I'm claiming to be aware of what I know by my own direct experience. And the only thing I can help you do is to help you focus on yourself so that you can attain it yourself and understand it. I can't explain it to you. It's like me trying to explain love to you and teach you it. You can't. You need to find a mate, male, female, whatever, and work it out that way. Well, when your blood pulse starts getting higher and your heart beats faster and what? Body. We have 5 senses in the body. The soul body doesn't. People, it's different. Soul body doesn't have the same things we do. Its vision is 1,000 times greater. Without a solid eyeball, without a brain and a real beating heart, it's a light being. Nothing can kill it, nothing can destroy it, nothing can cut it in half, burn it, or any of those words. Lucifer has to keep people from going past his realm, which is the astral plane. Satan has to keep people going from this realm into the next because they don't deserve to go there. If you're stupid enough or ignorant enough to follow the things that man makes you believe are important, you'll never get anywhere. Sports are totally useless. They drain people's money to make certain people rich. Has nothing to do with spiritual growth. People like Trump and multi-billionaires. I write letters to Musk every day. One of the richest people on the planet and thinks he's going to save the world and he wants to go to Mars. He's so far out of the loop, doesn't understand what we really did and are doing already. Never mind. I told him, you want the truth? Meet somebody from MJ-12. The only person I knew was killed. First they killed his family, then they killed him. But people, if you want the truth, if you want to meet people that deal with it, no tribe is better. The Hopi people are different than all the other tribes. Because going back wartime, the Hopi people weren't the ones fighting ever. I mean, the government tried to make them fight with the Apache and the Mohawk and every other tribe. Never happened. The Hopi people lived underground, people. And the other reason I could tell you the story because I was really close, not really close, but I was close enough to Thomas Binyaka. He was the oldest Hopi elder that carried the Hopi prophecy. And something which made it all real is because Tibet has the same prophecy. They sent people to the Hopi land with their prophecies and they compared them. The Tibetan people were showed that their path is going to be destroyed, which it was. China destroyed Tibet years ago, took it over. Hopi people have a piece of land still, but not much of it. Their teachings came out from under underground cities that they had. There's so many things people you don't want to hear, don't want to know, believe you know it all. The underground cities that the government's building go across the United States and into other countries. And they no longer have to use a machine that bores holes through the rock. They just use a laser gun and blast holes a perfectly tube straight through it. They don't have to remove rocks. And if you go, I don't want to go through all the stories, but Denver Airport is the home of the New World Order. All right. And there's a base in the Ozark, which is going to be the home where they live and do all their things. You don't see it, don't hear it. Why not? Jesse Ventura exposed it years ago. He exposed the underground cities. I said if he ran with Kennedy right now, if they actually got in, the world would change instantly because he would show the truth. The government and all the scientists out there are not even showing you why we have global warming. What kind of spiritual growth is that? How can we grow? Oh, get an electric car. That's not going to change anything. Get solar panels on your house. Not going to change anything. I'm in Hawaii. A couple years ago, we had 30 days of rain. You know what that would do to a solar system that you're getting your energy from? It would block out and be dead. The batteries might last for a couple of days, but then it would still be dead. If we had a blackout, I mean, even in 3 days of darkness, it would change a lot of things. Crime would be the highest ever in the universe, as far as on the planet itself. But dealing with what's happening, people, there's only one thing you have to deal with. Learning what you are as soul, learning how to leave the body. Then you can meet with your guide. And that you have to challenge. I could go into a story, but I'd be attacked greatly. But when you believe what you follow is a high being or a high angel or high anything, you can challenge it. They can't stop you from challenging them. And I'll tell you the simplest word. I'm not going to say it. Not now. But you can challenge anything to make sure that it is of God and not anything other than that. No entity, no being, no creature, no scientist, no doctor, lawyer, anything could go against God. Maybe making you believe things. What they prove only proves the structure of this reality. Cells and protons, neutrons, electrons, and things like that. Has nothing to do with spirituality. Has nothing to do with God. God created things for a reason, but not for us to tear it apart and make it get into something else. And I mean not better than what it is. Love could have been the greatest thing, but it isn't. Money could have been the greatest thing. No. Because they all reflect ego. Ego takes power from power. The more it's given, the stronger the ego becomes. The more destructive it becomes, like Mr. Musk, Trump. Trump's not the super rich person, but Gates and people like that. What they're going to make you do. Do you have a clue what's going to happen to your food in the next 10 years? Do you know what's going to happen to a lot of things? No, you don't even want to know. What you're going to be eating? What do you think aliens eat? You know, I'm on an hour. I'm not going to go much longer because I know people can't hold their brain together long enough to get more information in it. If they could take a couple of things I said today even, it'll be beneficial to them. Remember 3 names, Satnam, Jehovah, and Lucifer. Call on them. See what you get. And then if you do get anything, challenge it. If Lucifer was so bad, you can challenge it, and it wouldn't be able to stay there. But it's powerful, and it's coming from a higher level. People, I don't do the show to make money. I don't do anything now to make money really on a awareness level, truth level. I've been trying to put the truth out for a long time. I worked with a person for a long time. I did a show for 12 years with somebody whose husband worked for the government, high clearance, high everything, killed 139 people for the government, flew the first UFO for the president. You don't have to believe that. You have to believe that people in government are stupid. People that are trying to convince the government certain things are just as stupid. All the programs, one person from MJ12 exposed them all. All those words, Project Blue Book, and things like that. All right. But why was he killed? Because he went a little too far. See, the government has to release little things, the same as everything gets released now came out 25 or 50 years ago. The spaceship that's coming out had to be made, I don't know when it was actually made, but they spent $40 billion putting it together to release it. And it should come out by the end of this year. It looks incredible. It's done. I guess they're just putting the final weapons for a word on it. Going to have every weapon known to man that Tesla gave the United States. He gave us 50. I can go into a story about Tesla as well, but I'm not going to do it today. But I hope you get something out of this. I'll do part 2 very soon. Like I said, you got to get your feet wet first before you dive in, or you should. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. My email is hawksblood1 AOL.com. HAWKSBLOOD1 AOL.com. Skype, if you really want to talk, Hawksblood11. But you know, I had an open debate out, for about 2 years now. Everybody in the UFO world's afraid of me. Afraid to get their truth stolen, taken away, whatever. The lies they've been putting out there. I mean, just so you know, if you're involved in the UFO world, the worst person out there, destroying it at every level, is Stephen Greer. I don't know if he's working for a government, an alien race, or just a perverted, twisted mind. But his truth is not beneficial for anybody. Aliens are not good, never been. If they were good, I mean, go watch The Day the Earth Stood Still. That would happen if they were really here and good. The Day the Earth Stood Still, not the second one, the one that was written in the 50s, not the one that came out with Keanu Reeves in it. I mean, it's a good movie if you look at it from a different perspective, but if you wanted to relate to the original movie, it doesn't. But think about it. If God wanted this world to be a certain way, it would be. But it's not going to be, because it's allowing soul to move forward. I'm not going to say this about God, but any teacher should be able to teach you how to move further and greater than they are. If they can't, they're not a real teacher. All right, people. I didn't get far. I have about 20 pages I wanted to get into today. But enjoy the rest of your day or night. If you have questions, please text me. Put it up in the chat room, whatever. Hawksblood1AOL.com. How to See God at AOL.com as well. All right. Tommy Hawksblood here. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon here time in Hawaii. So we'll get into the aliens and stuff next time. There's so much stuff going on here with aliens right now and UFOs. It's crazy. But people want to believe what they want. And more people want to lie to you, make you believe what they believe or think. Nobody on planet Earth is doing anything good. Oh, well, what? Prophesize that something's going to happen? 2 people I know both prophesized 9/11. Neither one of them was standing in front of it the day it was going to happen, stopping people from going in. Why is that? Prophecies are given to people that are supposed to act on them. You figure it out from there, people. Could you say peace, love, passion, whatever you need in your life? Don't stop until you get it. Don't listen to every asshole out there. You're not going to get anywhere. And don't believe anybody else has the power to do anything for you. They don't. You are your power. You are your truth. You are what you are. Even in the Bible, it's, I am what I am. And that's all you are. But to be aware of it is more critical than not. So astral projection is one step of leaving the body. The word remote viewing is evil. You play with remote viewing, you cause a lot of karma for yourself because you're creating a field of energy that shouldn't be. You have no right to interfere in somebody else's life. The people that remote view, army, government, invade cities, countries, and people. So the karma people create is not getting better. With that, enjoy your day, enjoy your night. Please email me if you got a real question. Feel free. Till next time.